Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD StarCraft, and I'm here to bring you guys Game 4 of this best of 9 show match between the Ukrainian star WhiteRa, he's the blue Protoss player in the top right-hand corner, and down in the bottom left-hand corner, his opponent, who's currently down 3 games in this series. It is now Quantic Gaming's Hyun, and he is a red Zerg player. This map is going to be Cloud Kingdom, so we're out of the unknown territory. We've left the strange planet called Neo Planet S, and we've returned to the home world that we're also familiar with and love. It is going to be Cloud Kingdom. Now, this is going to be Game 4, and yes, it is currently 3-0. If this were a best of 5, WhiteRa would have won a long time ago. He would have won in the last game, actually. But it's not a best of 5, it is a best of 9, so you've got to get up to 5 games. WhiteRa certainly has the edge. He's got 3 games under his belt. If he can take this next game against Hyun, I mean, I don't know how in the world Hyun will be able to mount a comeback. But you know what? Hyun has been in pressure situations before. Remember, he's a pro gamer from Brood War into StarCraft 2 as well. Now in the Heart of the Storm, he knows how to get out of thick situations. And we'll see if he'll be able to do it. This is going to be prime time now. It's go time, basically. Either you nut up or you don't. So nut up or shut up. Love that movie, Zombieland. If you guys have never seen it, absolutely hilarious. But here we go. Spawning pole is coming down from Hyun. And that's obviously to be expected. Most Zergs get the spawning pole before the hatchery. That probe is going to make its way down to the natural and begin the process of being annoying. And WhiteRa right now does have a pylon at the natural expansion. It looks like he wants to go for probably a Nexus first. He's already saved up to 300 minerals. And here we go. It looks like the drone and the probe, it locked in mortal combat. Now, a lot of times now, I've been noticing Zerg players have been not even trying to go over to the 3rd expansion anymore. They actually try to out-micro the probe because they know that they can, over the long run, beat that probe down to a pulp and then become a hatchery. And that's exactly what Hyun just did. I really kind of like it because even on this map, trying to expand all the way out here is almost like a death sentence. It's so hard to rendezvous your drones over there. It's really hard to defend as well. You really want to make your expansion here. This is the prime location. You don't want to make it anywhere else in the beginning of the game. So good start for Hyun. Once again, looks like that probe is pushed away, and WhiteRa is going to be content to take the zone on the tower. Gateway and pylon at the front door, and another photon cannon in the back as well. There is, I believe, a gap right here. Should be able to be walled off by a zealot if WhiteRa chooses to do so. Back at home, he hasn't added on any gas yet, and that Overlord isn't in trouble against anything because obviously there's no cybernetics core on the field yet. I love what WhiteRa did by blocking that off with the probe, trying to buy time for his photon cannon to finish up, but unfortunately they didn't have enough HP, and the Zergling is once again allowed into the main base. Saw this in game 1 between these two players. Meanwhile, another Zergling pushing that probe away from the Xel'Naga tower. And what is Hyun going to do with the Zergling? Is he going to be able to be aggressive? It looks like he wants to try to annoy the probes. And anytime you can do this, it's pretty hard to get rid of that Zergling because you've got to make a decision. Do I send some of my probes off mining to push that Zergling away? And as a result, as a consequence, I lose mining time. And that's, if you can keep your Zergling alive as a Zerg player, it can do a lot of economic damage over the long run. We'll see if he'll be able to do it here. This is going to require pretty intense micro because remember, not only is Hyun microing the Zergling, but back at home he's also macroing and trying to maintain his late game advantages as well. So here we are, that Zergling trying to continue to be aggressive, pulling the probes away. 3 probes there, losing some of their mining time. And over at the front door, it looks like we have more probes coming out. The Overlord has parked itself on the cliff, so it's out of the vision of the photon cannon. Zergling still trying to bait those probes away. Until a Stalker can come or a Sentry, that Zergling is going to continue to be pretty annoying. You can see that the income for both players is pretty high though, so nothing too bad. Stargate is on the way. That probe of the Zergling almost going down right there as WhiteRa was trying to set the trap, but the Zergling was able to get out. It has just 7 HP right now. One more zap, it's down to 2. It will continue to regenerate. Meanwhile, an Overlord here looks like it will go down. And the purpose of that Overlord getting into the natural is to see, are there any sentries? Is there critical buildings that I can scout out? Meanwhile, WhiteRa trying to be aggressive with the Zealot, but it does go down. the Zergling is still alive from Hyun, man. This is impeccable micro. And so he sees the Stargate. This is the whole reason why you want to leave that Zergling alive, and you want to scout the natural as well, because at some point, WhiteRa has to throw a tech building either at the natural or he has to throw it inside the main base. And if you can keep a Zergling alive in the main, you are guaranteed to see what the Protoss is going to do. So now WhiteRa has revealed his strategy. He can't go back anymore. He is going to be indeed going for Stargate play, and so possibly going to be seeing the Sky Toss build this game. But the difference is Hyun is definitely prepared for it. He saw the Stargate coming up, unlike the first game where he saw it extremely late. He should be able to prepare adequate defenses. He is starting to layer it up right now, and we'll see if he decides to go for Hydralisks again, or if this time around, if he's going to try to go for Infestors. I mean, you know, I feel like if he could start getting Infestors earlier on, mix in some Hydras and Corruptors, that might be the way to stop that kind of Sky Protoss threat. But we'll have to see. It looks like WhiteRa is preparing to go for another expansion here at the 3rd, but it is going to be protected by these Photon Cannons, the Stalker, and the Zealot. Back over at the Stargate, the Oracle has already come out, in fact, backed up by a Phoenix. Oracle now going to be flying in over to the Zerg base. There are a few Queens here, though, so the Oracle is unlikely to do much damage. Another Queen has put itself in position to intercept as well. And so WhiteRa's Oracle pretty much going to be chilling back here. Not much it can really do, but a couple of Pulsar Beams in the right spot can do a ton of damage to the worker line. But you know what? Hyun's well prepared for it, man. He's got Queens, he's got Spore Crawlers, and he's got a Hydralisk Den coming up, so it's very unlikely, I feel, that you know, that Oracle is really going to be able to get much done. Zerglings, meanwhile, going to be tagging the Xel'Naga Tower. Looks like Hyun placing an emphasis, of course, on vision and information, which is smart. Looks like the Pulsar Beam has begun. WhiteRa actually doing quite a bit of damage to that Queen, but then decides to pull out because he knows additional Queens and that Spore Crawler are waiting in the background. As the Phoenix also flies in, tries to rendezvous with the Oracle in the back, but unfortunately it's pretty far away and cut off. And I think WhiteRa is going to say, alright, I'm done. I'm just going to pull out now and not take any additional chances. He's going to actually bring the Oracle and the Phoenix down to the bottom right-hand corner, and they will be able to scout. Oh, I don't know if they saw that hatchery. They did see the hatchery, so nice right there for WhiteRa to see the hatchery, and now he can activate Pulsar Beam and take out these drones. It only takes 2 shots, or basically 1 second, for it to kill off a drone. But look at this, very smart by Hyun. He actually makes it an extractor, which is going to drain the majority of this Oracle's energy. He might get the kill here, but man, that costed a lot of energy from the Oracle, and I don't know if it was actually worth it or not. But now that Oracle is pretty much useless for the next minute or so. Meanwhile, Hydras have made their way on the field. Muscular Augments is incoming, and once Muscular Augments completes, I'm not sure if these Phoenix really will be able to do much damage either. So the Sky Toss opening from WhiteRa not working out as well as last game. He only has 1 Stargate as well, but he's still adding on the Fleet Beacon. Huh. That is weird. He is actually going to go for 1 Stargate Fleet Beacon here. Not very common. Meanwhile, relying on pure gateways at the front door to hold off this attack. He does have a Colossus as well. The reason why he went for only 1 Stargate is because he did go for Colossus, so he can't add on a 2nd Stargate because it would stretch his gas too thin. So he has kind of gotten a bit of a mix here. A little bit of Fleet Beacon, a little bit of Colossus. We'll see how this plays out. Meanwhile, Hydra's barreling down these rocks so that they can open them up and make it a little bit easier for Zerg to traverse the center of Cloud Kingdom, which is, you know, always a good idea. Zerg typically don't like enclosed spaces. They are a claustrophobic race. And here comes that Oracle down to the bottom right-hand corner, obviously looking to pick off some drones or maybe even this Spore Crawler, but it doesn't have that much energy. It is going to be able to zap. It looks like it's going to focus the Spore Crawler now, but it decides to turn off Pulsar Beam because of the energy waste. And we want to... Protoss are energy efficient, man. They don't want to waste their energy on a Spore Crawler like that. So it looks like Hyun now preparing to make a possible attack. He has Roach Speed about to finish up as well. Currently, upgrades are looking not actually that good for either side. When you look at it, then either side has +1/+1 yet, but +1/+1 is on the way for Hyun. And look at this. He's going for Vipers. He's got 4 Vipers in production, has them rallied over to the Zerg army, and one can only imagine he is preparing to make an attack now. He saw the initial Colossus coming out from WhiteRa, and when you've got Roaches and Hydras, one of the best ways now in Heart of the Swarm to stop Colossus is to abduct them. yeah, that's the best way to stop them. So kidnapping them is the best strategy, and I think WhiteRa is gonna have to figure out some way to deal with these Vipers, and he does scout the Viper. In fact, very good for these Phoenixes to scout them out, and in fact pick one off as well. Now it looks like all the Phoenix are gonna go down, but I almost feel like it's not that bad of a loss, because those 4 Phoenix really at this point in the game, they're not going to be able to do much else, but killing off a Viper and also seeing the fact that Hyun has now gone for Vipers is critical, because by scouting this out, he can now add on Templar tech and go for Templars, which in essence counter the Vipers by feedback. So I think momentarily here we are going to see Templar archives. I mean, I could be wrong, but I would imagine that's what he's going to go for. In fact, yeah, there we go. I just saw 2 High Templar being warped out into the army, and WhiteRa is prepared. Very smart from WhiteRa, and he doesn't even have Storm coming, but the sacrifice of those 4 Phoenix is going to pay huge dividends here, and as long as he keeps the Templar in front of the Colossus, he can prevent them from being abducted. But here we go. It looks like Hyun is going to make a press here. He's got Speed Hydras and Speed Roaches, and he's got Vipers ready for the abduction. Luckily for Hyun, he doesn't have to worry about Psionic Storm, but he doesn't know that. He doesn't know that these Templars are not equipped with Storm, so I don't know if he actually wants to gamble running up the ramp, especially when he knows there are sentries there, and a couple of force fields can probably ruin his day. So he has to play this very carefully. Storm is actually on the way right now from the Templar archives. More Roaches and Hydras joining the fray here. Adrenal Glands is on the way as well. We do have a Spire coming, 2-2, +2 for the ground Protoss is also coming. And this game is starting to heat up. 197 supply to 193. Both players are maxed out. You can see resources lost has been pretty low, but that's going to change here. Mothership Core gets abducted, but drops a double Time Warp field before it goes down. What beautiful micro by WhiteRa. And yeah, I know it doesn't really make a difference because it's not like a battle is going to happen here, but at least he got something off before the Mothership Core had fallen. That was really, really good control and reaction timing by WhiteRa to be able to do that. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to make much use of that. You might think, well, he might try to push down the ramp and gain a little territory when the Time Warp field was there, but he decides not to. I mean, this is a lot of Roaches and Hydras, and they are 1-1 upgraded. 2-2 is on the way. Here comes an abduct and another abduct. They get feedbacked, so there will be no more abducts, but 1 or 2 Colossus did go down there, and oh, the Storm crippling the Zealot shields. But luckily, it's just the shields and not their actual HP. It looks like WhiteRa thinking about pushing out here and pushing the Zerg army back. Hyun needs to make a decision. He might want to actually engage here. He does abduct some Colossus inwards. He snipes the Colossus by abducting them. Beautiful abducts. Storm actually ends up hitting the Protoss army, but that abduct was absolutely amazing. Hyun was able to pick off a Colossus, and now he's on the creep, so he is going to be able to get the hell out of there. Great play by Hyun. He's now backing up this army with 8 Ultralisks. And once the Ultralisks join the army, this is going to be a much scarier Zerg force. WhiteRa is going to have to be prepared for those Ultralisks. He does have some Zealots in the bottom right-hand corner, and it looks like he will be able to take out this hatchery, so there is one small step for WhiteRa, which is going to definitely help. He is now getting his 4th base as well. He is taking out the Zerg's 5th base, so he's going to put the Zerg down to 4 bases, and that's always a good situation for a Protoss player. But what is WhiteRa going to do about the Ultralisks? There are 8 on the way. They are currently at 3-1. Chitinous plating is finished, and melee upgrades and Carapace upgrades are coming as well. The Ultralisks have now been seen by the Zealots. Usually when you see Ultralisks, one of the best ways to stop them is just to go Protoss Air. You know, on top of that, it also counters a potential Broodlord tech switch as well. And yes, WhiteRa is going to be making Void Rays now, which is a smart decision. Prismatic Beam can wreck Ultralisks. And look at these Ultras. They're actually chasing the Templars and whatnot. A couple of storms coming down. The Hydra's going through the brunt of the storm. But these Ultras are going to be able to do a lot of damage. Archons versus Ultras. Supreme Melee versus Supreme Melee. Colossus getting yanked into the thick of things, but it is not being targeted. It looks like the Protoss army is going to be able to win out just barely. And that's where Archons show their mighty anti-biological power that Colossus trying to get out of harm's way. And it looks like WhiteRa takes a huge victory right there. Resources lost now. Heavy casualties inflicted on TSL Hyun at 14k minerals lost and gases lost. Beautiful game so far. WhiteRa is now expanding not just to here, but also over to the top left-hand side. In the meantime, he is planning to make an attack. And I love this play, man. He's got the army advantage. Why not try to take out a base right now? Even though there are 9 Ultralists coming, they are not going to be here for a few more moments, and that might be just enough time to take out this hatchery. Indeed it is. A couple of force fields also to buy time, but cracklings are coming through on the creep, and they can do a ton of damage. Blinding Cloud also shutting down these Stalkers, and the Ultras just completely wreck the force fields. They could run them over, and now the Ultras are in the thick of things. This is not looking good for WhiteRa. He might have gone a little bit too greedy. I don't think he can win this fight, but those Archons, then again, are just doing so much damage. It's going to be close. No, Hyun is going to be able to take this fight very convincingly, and WhiteRa overextending right there. Even though he was able to get a hatchery, now he's got to worry about Hyun making a counterattack, and Hyun should be thinking about making a counterattack right now because he just lost a base. He has to counter in order to do some damage, but WhiteRa is going to prevent the counter from occurring by buying time with 6 or so Zealots. May their lives rest in peace on Ire. So that was a brilliant sacrifice, a brave sacrifice by those Zealots, but one that was basically necessary in order to buy time for WhiteRa to get more forces back at home, and these Zealots also being called into duty and service. They will go down in an effortless attack, but back at home that buys some critical time to get more units on the field, get Templar, get Archons, get the units. It costs a lot of money, costs more gas, and require more build time, more than just Zealots, and that is going to give WhiteRa enough time to make a defense here. He does have Mothership Core now using Photon Overcharge. I think that might have been a little premature. You don't really want to overcharge until you see the army coming in, but nevertheless, good timing, because actually the Zerg army is going to attack here, but actually WhiteRa might not have enough to make a hold here. This is a huge Ultralisk army, and yeah, this is not looking good for WhiteRa at all. He's trying to make more charge lots. Blinding Cloud also, of course, shutting down the Protoss army, but there isn't really much range units underneath. But the Ultras just mawing everything down, clawing and mawing, and GG, well played, calls WhiteRa. Hyun has done it. He's won a game in this series. It is now 3-1 in favor of WhiteRa, but you can feel it. You can feel the momentum starting to shift away from the Granddaddy Protoss over to the Korean pro gaming Zerg player. And will he be able to continue to build on this momentum? It has been an amazing series. We are now going to be going into game number 5 after this video, so I hope you guys stay tuned. This is HD, and I am signing out.